Hello, my name is Amin Mokdad. I'm from Iraq. I'm talking with you now from Turkey. Um, this piece called A Dream, and it's written and performed by me. And the film is directed by Munir Salah and me also. And it just give you an overview about how could politics and war can affect on the climate change because this force is totally burned for a political reason. Among the darkest days, there is a dream was made to bring the light to the shades where all the hope does fade, looking for truth, looking for truth. The dream has so big wings, the dream was loudly sings, lightening the sky with peace, spreading so much seeds over the land, over the land. They put the dream in walls with all the free will souls, spreading so much fears. The land was full of tears. We lost the faith. We lost the faith. The nights were full of sounds coming from all around, calling for them to rise. The sky is out of clouds. Don't wait for the rain. Don't wait for the rain. Seeds were covered with tears were flowed. The dream was a blooming in China's gold. The seeds were covered. With tears were flowed. The dream was a blooming. The dream was a blooming in China's gold. In China's gold.
Hello, everyone. I am Debbie G, and it's an exciting hour with the wonderful, incredible Jonathan Granoff. Here today, we are going to discuss why peace is important. And this is a really cool subject. And believe me, we have the best person in the house to discuss this. And let me tell you why. Just listen to this. The president of Global Security Institute, representative to the United Nations of World Summits of Nobel Peace Prize laureates. Pretty cool stuff, right? Lawyer, professor, widely published scholar and author, fellow and trustee of the World Academy of Arts and Science. And to close, and believe me, there's a lot more. Just look him up. I looked at his Wikipedia. It was absolutely fantastic. But since his youth, he's been a student of the Sufi saint Bawa Muhayyaddin. And he's here with us. And I love that. Jonathan, you know you're one of my favorite people in this world to sit here with. Hi.
This is everybody's living room. The natural world. And that's what we've forgotten. That's what we forgot. We forgot that we're but one thread in this great weave of wondrous life. And because we forgot our connectivity to the great wonder of and the generosity of life, we have forgotten our intrinsic peace. Because the great generosity of the wonder of life is created by a power that gifts everything with beauty, peace, light, and wonder. And to the extent that we've forgotten that, we lose peace. And so doing a sharing with you about recovering and remembering our connectivity is really important. And I honor this time, Debbie, because your life is devoted to drawing out from people the best of them. And the best of them, as you expressed, for you, is that connectivity. And it's that connectivity that so interestingly, the paradox of self-discovery is intrinsically connected to connectivity. That if you go deep enough inside, you all of a sudden connect to others outside. And that in order to connect with people outside, you have to go to the heart of yourself inside. So there's this great relationship between going inside and outside. But in fact, then if you go deep enough, you discover there isn't any inside or outside. It's more like a Moebius strip where there's no inside or outside. You know, inside consciousness, outside consciousness. Exactly where is consciousness? Is it inside? Where's the world that we perceive? Is it inside or outside? And once you start wondering of these the deep questions, the real questions, and you're sincere about it, it's like entering into a chess match with God. If you win, you get him. If he wins, he gets you. Either way, you can't lose. You just have to stay in the game. You have to stay on the path. You have to stay in the game. You have to stay focused on what really matters. And the pursuit of truth and peace and love and justice, our connectivity, our humanity, is something you can do no matter what profession you're in, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing with your life. These aspects can be brought to the fore. And people like yourself, Debbie, who platform these matters that matter, are really important. So all of this meandering around this one point is by way of my saying, thank you for letting me in your living room.
Well, I love that. And you know, some of the things that I've just heard you talking about, in my reality, I convert to God's beauty. We were talking about grace right before that we got started, and I think grace is really important when we are discussing peace and the essence and the value of it. And we talked about grace, actually, you and I talked about grace and gratitude on our last interview, which if you all missed it, it's definitely worth checking out. It's right here on Unify, by the way. But what I love about grace being the fragrance of life, and that you are in God's beauty, the living room that you sit in. The essence of peace is right there for everyone to get. In fact, Jonathan, I'm going to tell you a story real quick. Long, long time ago, I had a very serious reaction after a surgery. And I spent 4 weeks in ICU, and I came very close to dying. A few months later, as I was standing outside, I realized that everything that we ever needed was right here. Everything that we ever needed was truly given to us in full abundance for our taking of and our embracing, not to abuse it, not to destroy it. And that includes each other. And the other thing I discovered was it's really people that matter, period. It's the people in our life. So I want to thank you, Jonathan. And by the way, I love your edification. It's awesome. And I want to edify you right back and thank you for how you show up in the world. And for those of you watching, I want you to think about the last time you've put your feet into the ground and felt the essence of the earth, because that is peace. When was the last time you just smiled at somebody to just do it, because that is peace? And I really want to talk about the different things that we can do to integrate. Jonathan, we've been talking about this stuff for a long time. In fact, you have been changing the world with your actions. You're literally a world changer. You in your actions do it. Now, this isn't just words. So you're one of my favorite people to ask. How do we integrate peace? Not just talk about it.
Well, the first piece is an inside job.
Period.
So the first thing is, if you yourself are not at peace, you
Yeah.
can't bring peace into the world. So a wise man was once asked, what do you pray and meditate, or what do you get from prayer and meditation? And he said, I don't get anything. I lose things. I lose vanity. I lose pride. I lose jealousy. I lose anger. I lose vanity. I lose hastiness. I lose prejudice. I lose zealotry. I lose all of the qualities that separate me from others.
Mm-hmm.
And in the space that remains is where grace can be discovered. So analyzing the things that separate us and separating them from ourselves is the first step of finding peace within oneself. And then finding the patterns that reinforce the illusion of separation, the illusion of being separate from the natural world, the illusion that we don't breathe the phytoplankton, that we're not being breathed by the rainforests, that we're not all sharing the breath of life like leaves on a tree, all sustained by the same power. The illusion that our mind and consciousness is separate from the whole. The illusion that we cause vision, touch, taste. The illusion that we are not connected to the great infinite universes and the firmaments. The illusion that we are a wave separate from the ocean. And what causes this illusion is really mainly arrogance and pride. And what connects us in practice that opens the space so that the peace of our inner being can be integrated, because that's what you asked about, integrated, are the qualities and the perennial virtues, the straight path, not the path of powers and the path of magic and performances, the path of the transformative power of love, the transformative power of compassion, the transformative power of humility, the transformative power of tranquility and acceptance, the transformative power of being fully human. Those qualities and virtues connect us. And in the connectivity, the evidence of the connectivity is caring and compassion. And the evidence of compassion is caring for the suffering of others. That's the paradox.
Mm-hmm,
Pursuing
mm-hmm.
happiness is pursuing happiness. You won't find happiness. Pursuing compassion, bringing compassion into action, you will receive open space, connectivity, and peace. The evidence of peace is service, because you're connected to others. You're always busy helping.
Absolutely.
And the evidence of that is a clear conscience. The evidence of a clear conscience is inner peace. And the evidence of inner peace is the ability of receiving grace. Because grace is like gravity. It's part of the fabric of creation. Creation is imbued with beauty and grace. Watch a sunrise when you're in a state of peace and love, and you'll see it. Watch a sunset. Watch a flower. Watch a baby. Watch yourself, and you'll see it. But you won't see it if you're not in that state. So it's coming to the state of openness and emptiness. And compassion is what frees you from the clutter of I, my movie, I'm important. The whole universe is centered around me. Egocentricity. That is what veils us from that interconnectivity of peace. So the first step is the perennial virtues in action in your life, because within those virtues, within love, compassion, patience, is a power, a transformative power, not performance. You might have to pray to do it. You might have to dance to do it. You might have whatever you have to do to awaken those qualities within yourself. That's important, but that's performance. But within those qualities, within the qualities that make us human, is a transformative power that awakens a level of awareness. Then we can start talking about becoming an agent of institutional change. Because as humans, we create institutions to feed ourselves, to move our bodies, to sustain our societies, to protect ourselves. We create institutions. Presently, the institutions that we've created, because they're not grounded sufficiently in our full humanity, are destroying the natural world. We are fueling our houses, moving our bodies, taking the remains of our ancestors and other species that lived here that turn into fossil fuel, burning it and burning the planet. Now there's something fundamentally off in this. It's out of balance, right? I mean, because it's not working. So we're destroying our very home. We're sitting on a limb and we're cutting the limb off. But why is that? It's because we're out of touch. So the first thing is you and I is getting in touch with that connectivity with the source. The source of ourselves is going to be the source of the natural world. The way in which we protect ourselves from from those who've forgotten those beautiful qualities. The way in which we've organized ourselves into nations and our relations amongst nations are disproportionately based on the illusion of separation and militarism. Since the year 2000, the world has spent in excess of $32 trillion on pursuing security through military means. And we're Debbie, you and I are citizens of a country that spends around $1 trillion a year, far more than any other country, far more than China or Russia or the United Kingdom or Mexico, Brazil, or any other countries altogether. far more, to pursue security. When we know that we know better ways to do this. Diplomacy, the rule of law, identifying common interests. These are now, I'm not saying we should get rid of militaries or get rid of nations, but we're out of proportion. I'm not saying we should never burn fires to warm ourselves, but we're out of balance. So the first thing for each of us is coming into balance within ourselves. That's
Well,
the first thing.
I love that. And I want to just reiterate some of the things that you've been talking about. The first was when we go into the state and discussing whether the state of meditation or into this space of realizing that we are one and we're not separate. And I love how you pointed out, well, what do you gain with that? Well, you don't, but you do lose. Edging God out, as Dr. Wayne Dyer would say, you do lose the things that are no longer serving you, such as haste, such as anger, such as judgment. All of those things that come into play that are truly that of just the ego. And I love how you brought that up, because I thought that that was perfect. To the essence of stepping into the space of being by going out and appreciating the earth. And I loved that. So the essence of what I heard you say was peace is coming from within, but in order to attain it, you must let go and lose those things that no longer serve and step into the space of love, of true compassion. True compassion is the deep wanting and knowing. I want to know what's real for you. Compassion is not how does this affect me, but how is this real for you and how can I hold space for that? It's not fixing, it's not anything. Compassion is one of the biggest things that you talked about that I feel needed to be emphasized. The law of reciprocity is amazing. And that's what these actions will bring you, that he has been talking about. Then moving forward to the understanding that you can do this in your own life and that this first step is yours to take. And whatever is happening for you right now, the reason that Peace Week is happening and International Peace Day is happening is to bring an awareness to all of you that you are a divine spark and that you can take these small actions and affect somebody else's life too. And actually, Jonathan, don't you find more in service than anything else? If you've had a bad day and you suddenly are of service to somebody, somehow that changes everything that's been going on.
It's
What do you
not
think?
well, I don't think it's a small step to move from egocentricity. I don't think it's a small step to move from loving things and using people to loving people and using things. I don't think it's a small step to commit to loving kindness and compassion. I think these are huge steps. And then if you really do it, if you really do it, and then you realize that each day over 12,000 children are not necessarily starving to death because we produce more than enough food to distribute it, that this is a choice of our institutions. If you do this and you realize that we're producing the wherewithal and sustaining it and training people to use nuclear weapons on the human family and end this wondrous web of life, if you do this and you realize that we have moral agency in our institutions, that we have a duty to engage, to protect the vulnerable, to protect the natural world. If you do this, there will be also a voice within that will compel you to engage, that will compel you to learn, how can I protect the environment? How can I serve the poor? How can I How can I work for peace and ending war? How can I stop the madness of producing weapons, which the more we perfect, the less security we obtain? How can I engage? You'll find a way to do that. There's plenty of people who've made those commitments. Or you'll find a way to go deeper into the wisdom found within those qualities so that you can help other people get free from the suffering that is caused by the ignorance of separation. You will be attracted if you do it sincerely. I promise you, you will find within yourself a beauty that your intelligence could not measure. You will find within yourself a peace that surpasseth your own understanding. But you have to put the time aside, and you have to ask for help from the great power that brought you into this world. And you have to be open to let go. You have to open your hand. I mean, when you have a fist, you can't let go. You have to be willing to let go of those things that hold you back from growing. The highest state that you can't pursue, like sainthood or some I don't know, some artificial title.
No, wait a minute. Sainthood,
you,
Jonathan, you're telling me I can't get sainthood?
No, you can't get it.
What?
No, you can't get any of those things. But
Well,
what you
shoot.
Yeah. What you can get is you can get a connectivity of the suffering of others.
Yeah.
You can get a destruction of egocentricity. You can get your vanity and pride crushed. You can get becoming less so that God is more. So everybody doesn't want to do this. You know, some people want to be distracted until the moment of death and then they're in for a big surprise. Some people want to live purely within the realm of the intellect and just be window shopping the whole time, is looking and studying it. But then there's some of us that want to totally dive into the water and get drenched. And that's who I'm trying to talk to. The people who really, really sincerely want to find peace, who sincerely understand that this very short time that we're here together contains within it the precious treasure of living within the realization of the infinite light and grace of God, and living in that, and living in it, and it living in us, that we live in it and it lives in us. And once you have one experience of that, you're transformed. And so, Debbie,
Yes.
you're a real California girl. You're beautiful,
Yes.
blonde, privileged, all of these things. And yet, like every other person, you learned early. Well, not every person learns this. You learned early the truth of sickness and death.
Yeah.
Usually the Buddha describes it as old age sickness and death. You learned sickness and death early. You also were open, driving on a highway in Southern California with the top down and your blonde hair there, and all of a sudden, a touch of grace in your life. You were given two incredible gifts. One, the universality of suffering, that we all face death at some point. And you were also given the wonder of, like, an alarm clock that said, this life is very short. Wake up. Tell us about this wake up experience that you were gifted.
Oh, I'd love to. It's eternal peace. So I'm driving down the street. It's in Huntington Beach. Sunroof's open, listening to my music because I am all about music. Because, by the way, just so y'all know, you are the melody. Just saying. So I'm driving down the street and this song comes on, which I totally love, by Christopher Cross, called Sailing. And I had to pull my car over because the rush of gratitude tears. There's a moment in life where you are so whole with God but nothing else is present but that moment. And the words in this song he was singing to me, sailing takes me away. And it takes me away into the infinite possibilities, to the imagination, to the things that we have forgotten as we were children. It reminds us, God reminds us that we are truly a wondrous child within. That moment for me was, and you know, I grew up in religion. I was a born again Christian. I had all of these things, but nothing was like this. This was an at-one-ment. I know a lot of people call it atonement. I call it an at-one-ment with God's source energy, and all of you have it attainable to you right this moment. All of you, if you choose to hear, if you choose to see, if you choose to feel. And I chose through deep gratitude to be present and to do that thing called life with God through me to you. It was that. And I just said the sacred yes, Jonathan, and I just kept going. And here I am still saying the sacred yes because it matters. Peace matters. And the people that are watching, all of you right now, you matter. The reason that Peace Day is so important is because you need to be reminded that you matter. And sometimes, Jonathan, what I've discovered is we forget. We forget as human beings how divinely precious that we are. And we aren't here very long at all. This is just a short little stint. Of course, I haven't croaked yet, so I don't know what really happens on the other side, but I'm going to tell you what, I have an inkling. You know, what the inkling is that love is all there is. Period. That's about what I know, is that love is the true essence of everything. And love is not just a feeling. It's not the chemical reactions in your body that are happening because you meet Mr. or Mrs. Awesome. Love is the essence of being at one with source, whatever that source may be to you. It's all of it. It's Jonathan's backyard right now. Looking at that is love. Love cannot even be contained. It is ever expanding. It flows. It's always present. But it's not the human love, so don't get confused. It's a kind of love that tingles through your body and gives you truth chills, like that. So, Jonathan, that would be it.
My teacher said when that love opens within you, several things happen. One is a sense of total fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
Second is a sense of thirst for learning more.
Absolutely.
At the same time as the paradox of spiritual growth is total containment of gratitude in the present condition you're in, plus seeking beyond that like a drowning man seeks air. So it's a paradox. The intellect can't handle that paradox of total fulfillment and total learning. There's also, in addition to the experience of fulfillment, is feeling the suffering of everyone else as part of yourself. That the whole world, the suffering of others is part of you, and thus your dedication to serving that power that has given you that grace. A dedication to trying to do your best to serve in whatever profession or work or whatever you're doing, and being open to the possibility that you are in fact an agent of that love, and accepting that, and never belittling yourself, and never thinking that you're not worthy, because the fact is you're not worthy. None of us are worthy. None of us created that love. None of us created what we see. None of us created vision. None of us created life. None of us created ourselves. None of us are worthy. Only that power that gives us life is worthy. So once you accept that, then you don't care what people think. You're not trying to avoid shame, because you know you're hopeless. You know you're helpless. You know you're one breath away from death. You know that you can just you're frail. You know this. And it's not only is it okay, it's liberating because you also know that everyone else is in the same condition. And every human being you meet is as frail and is as dependent on the power of life itself as you are, and thus you're connected. And if you're connected, then the world changes. Everything changes when you have that connectivity. Now, there's another lesson that comes after that infusion of spirituality 101 that you described, which is shortly thereafter, you will experience disappointment, betrayal, the nature of the world, anger, falsehood, jealousy. Things will assail you. People you thought you could trust, you discover you can't. Things will happen that will give you many reasons to be pissed off and resentful and doubtful, and then engage in the distractions of the world, engage in cheap thrills, engage in all sorts of abusive conduct toward yourself, engage in acquiring unnecessary toys, engage in competition where you could be working on cooperation. Except there'll be one thing that says, no, I'm not going to go that way. And it is the remembrance of the wonder and power that brought you into the world. And some people don't make a choice, and they drift into the illusions.
Right.
And then some people, like you, Debbie, as you said the most, but there are two words that are so precious to us. One is no, and the other is yes. And you said yes. And this show that you've put together is dedicated to reminding all of us that one of the things that makes us human is this power of yes, that God has given us uniquely. Other creatures don't have this. The seed in the flower is directed to open and bloom into fragrance and beauty. It doesn't choose to say yes. It says yes. It has to.
It is yes. Yeah. Right.
It is yes. The natural world does that. But the human has to make that choice. And that is what Peace Day is about. Peace Day is a day in which we want to find that sacred blessing within ourselves and say yes to it, and then be of service to that power of peace. There's very few things that we could do that would bring us the value that comes from that. And myself and Debbie and everyone who's ever said yes to this will testify. As Jesus said, it is the peace that surpasseth understanding. My teacher, Abao, said, you become the jeweled lights of the divine eye. You become the light in the eyes of the divine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then when you see others, you see that they too are the jewels of the divine. And then the world becomes a very different place. Then your family, the people in your family, they don't have to recognize it. They'll still treat you the same way, but you'll see them more beautifully than you did before. And
I absolutely agree with that.
And then the people that don't understand you, you will say, well, their hostility toward you is not toward you, it's toward something in their mind. Because you know that you have a precious treasure that nobody else, no one else can measure, the secret treasure that is your peace. It's your treasure, and it's yours as a gift. Like it's a gift. Now, sometimes it's like so amplified, like Debbie driving down the highway in Huntington Beach with the top down and her blonde hair flying, and all of a sudden, there's this wonderful apocryphal story of this great Sufi master, Jalaluddin Rumi. He's a very popular poet in America, meeting with another great Sufi mystic, Yunus Emri. It's an apocryphal story because they didn't live exactly at the same time, but the point is here. And he says to this other fantastic human being, who are you? And Eunice Emery says, they took infinity and they wrapped it in bones and skin. And this year they're calling it Eunice. And then Rumi said, oh, you've said everything so quickly. And that's our human condition. Our souls are part of the infinite. The light within us is part of the infinite. And we forget. But those who remember start to say, okay, the state that I live in, the nation state where I live in, has to become a force for peace. We have to stop producing and exporting huge amounts of weaponry. I can't sit on the sidelines and I can't allow a death machine to continue. I have to work for diplomacy and the rule of law, and I have to have representatives that do that. I can't sit on the sidelines. I care about the rule of law as a way of controlling human conduct. It's a very important institution. And when the judgments of courts are mocked and ignored, this is very serious. I cannot allow the dumping of huge amounts of garbage into the oceans because we have no regime to protect the oceans. We have to create, we're not losing sovereignty of our nations. We're fulfilling the very duty of sovereignty to protect the oceans. It's our duty to do this. When Jesus, when Confucius, when Socrates, when in every spiritual tradition, it said, you must treat your neighbor as yourself. You must do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You must refrain from doing unto others what you would not want done to you. One iteration of the rule of equity and connectivity, the golden rule. But today we affect future generations. So when Jesus said this, it was only in the neighborhood of today. But today, this generation, we affect the future. So we're affecting souls yet to come. So our responsibility in this day and age is unique. It is not only the convergence of the admonition to see the human family as one, as a spiritual admonition, it's now a practical necessity. Because we can't protect the climate at the level of the state. It's a global issue. We cannot get rid of nuclear weapons from the vantage point of the state. It's a global issue. We cannot protect the rainforests. Even the financial system is integrated. We live in one human family for the first time in human history in such a way that the things that we do in the application of our powers of science and technology and social organization determine the very future of the planet. So our responsibility to say yes to that power that gives us peace, that gives us love, stretches not only to those living with us, but it stretches to those unborn. So it's a big responsibility on the one hand, and yet it's something in which it's a privilege. It's a privilege to serve, and we are not responsible for the outcome. That's not in our gift. That's not in our gift. Whether we succeed or fail, that's not in our gift. What is in our gift is our yes and no. We can ignore the blessing of this birth, this precious human birth, or we can say yes to it. And for those who've said yes, I bow in respect and honor. And for those who've forgotten, I pray that they remember. And for myself, every day, I pray that God protect me and lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from the evil of forgetfulness. And that I'm taught to forgive, because I know that as I forgive, I will be forgiven. And to say, oh my Father, and I know God is not a father or a mother, but oh dear Creator of all and everything, our Father, who art in heaven, who's in the most precious place of the heart, that's where heaven is. Your remembering you is sacred. And I say that to remember my dependence on the same thing that you depend on. And that connects us. And for those like you, Debbie, who bring us together to share the best that we have, I say profoundly, thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much. And what I would like to bring forward from what you have just spoken about is the idea that we can step forward in compersion, enjoy an elation of others. Compersion simply is, remember that child that took a step and you said, "Oh my gosh," and you celebrated them. So I'm going to encourage you to go forward in celebration, because that's really the essence of what you were saying, to celebrate yourself, to celebrate others, and make a decision. You can make a decision today to really step into the wholeness of who you are. Quit cheating yourselves, because the fact is, saying no is just going to drag it out, and you have
Yeah,
a
like what?
calling. Yeah,
Like for people who have resentment, how long are you going to keep it? Are you going to wait till like a half an hour before you die? You're going to wait for like a month before you die to forgive the person? Are you going to, like, don't put it off. Don't put this off, because you don't know when the curtain's going to come down, and how long you're going to hold on to it, and what's the
exactly.
benefit? And
Mhm.
what's the benefit? Today is always your day.
It is your day. Actually, I love that. And I'm going to challenge everybody here to reach out to somebody that you can be in gratitude for. Forgiveness is an inside job as well. Go try the Ho'oponopono prayer. I don't know if I said it correctly. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And keep your hand on your heart while you do it. And let go of that no longer serves you. We are coming to a close here, and I just want to thank you, Jonathan, because this has been an extraordinary time with you again. So much valuable information that we can all use in our daily life. And that's it right there. It's the practice. Practice peace, practice gratitude, practice grace for yourself and for others. And who can you be kind to today? Seriously,
Deb,
Austin.
when you said thank you, I love you. This is a great way to end this. My mother's last words to me. My mother was a very famous singer, Kitty Callan. You can look her up. She was sort of a big star in the 40s and 50s, and so she was very famous. And that was that. As she got older, the artificiality of that fell away, and her appreciation increased, and her humility increased,
Yeah.
and her openness increased. And the last words she said to me were, "Thank you, I love you." And this is the really good one, because this is what you get for that. Wow.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jonathan. And
Hello, my warriors, and welcome in. My name is Leland Holgate, and I am the founder and CEO of Warriors for Life America, a nonprofit for veterans, military, and first responders. I myself am a combat veteran and really excited to bring this practice to you. It's called the Willful Warrior, and it's perfect for Peace Day. This practice is based in neuroscience, psychology, and ancient breath techniques. So we're going to work through a practice that's going to turn on your healing gene expression, the real you. So as we move through something called intermittent hypoxia or episodic breathing, we're going to lower your CO2. We're going to elevate your oxygen or hyperoxygenate the body. And then we're going to hold. And when you hold, those holds are so important. Your nitric oxide starts to rise. Once your nitric oxide rises, it's a neurosignaler for your arteries and veins to open or vasodilate. It also upregulates your immunoglobulin, which is your immune cells that your body uses to fight off disease. And you also get this amazing mental clarity and focus. Now, some of the other things that are happening are you're creating healing neuropeptides and a whole compound list of amazing chemicals that's running through your body, over 1,200 metabolites healing the body. And these metabolites metabolites are metabolites like dimethyltryptamine, DMT, your own spirit molecule, or anandamide, your own bliss chemical. If you've ever felt that absolute ecstasy, that's anandamide. So we're going to upregulate all of these while also decreasing your stress hormones like cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine, and rising or elevating your oxytocin, which is your love hormone, your serotonin, which is your happy hormone, the dopamine, which is your reward hormone, and a whole list of endorphins that anesthetize or turn off the pain receptors in the body. So I'm really excited to bring you this practice. I myself, from my military service, I broke my neck, had to learn how to walk again. So I was a quadriplegic for a time, and also dealt with PTSD from the combat stress and all the deployments that we go through. So a long list following of having to deal with cancer and a head-on car crash leaving me paralyzed from the waist down. And this practice helped heal this body and this brain. So what happens is one of these amazing genes that we're about to turn on is called brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And it creates a protein that's found in your brain and in your spinal tissue. So it quite literally heals damaged neurons or nerve cells and helps to heal damaged neuropathways. So we see this having positive results with people that have Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, so many other diseases and traumas that this takes care of. So I'm really excited to bring you through this practice. And I want you, as you move through, to really think of that peaceful warrior that we all are. As you sit back in your chair, just let your hands rest on your knees and start to settle in for the moment. Just start to take notice of the body. No need to make any changes. No judgments. Just notice where the breath may be restricted or where there's tension in the body. And again, no need to make any changes. Just noticing, tuning in. Notice where the mind is. Is it racing? Are my thoughts calm? Just allow yourself to settle into the moment, letting go of the past, disconnecting from the future, living here in this generous present moment. And as we move into this practice, we're going to go in and out through the nose for our first breath. And it sounds like this. In and out with power and force, opening your chest and bringing that air in and out. We'll move through, and the first breath is going to be an exhale that sounds like this, shooting your breath out like a spear, squeezing all of your air out of your body, and then immediately in and out through the nose. And for now, just allow yourself to be where you are. Let go of any expectation. And tune in to that shift that's already begun. That shift into peace. Now moving into the breath, start to breathe in all the way to the top. Breathe in all the way through your nose and hold it at the top. Breathe in and hold. And now exhale, shoot it out like a spear. In through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. With force and power. Keep it going. Continue to breathe. Don't let the body be the mind. Breathing in and out. In and out, in and out. Just a few more. What you're feeling is normal. Continue to breathe. In and out, in and out, into the top, all the way up and hold, all the way up, hold. And enjoy the journey. Hold the breath and let go of tension. Notice that connection to oneness, to source, to that peace. And when you're ready, slowly start to exhale, letting everything settle. And just notice that feeling of peace and wholeness that you have cultivated. Tuning in to that real you. Now that you've associated yourself with that real you, let's move in further. Hit that all in button for you. More sound, more power in the breath, and more of that healing gene expression will be turned on. We breathe in slowly. Inhale all the way to the top. Breathe in all the way and hold. All the way up and hold. And now exhale. Shoot it out like a spear. In through the nose, out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. In and out, in and out. Open the chest with intention, with power, like that warrior that you are, that warrior of peace. Continue to breathe. Breathe for your life. Breathe for your healing. Breathe for that peace. In and out, in and out, in and out. Breathe in all the way up to the top and hold, all the way up and hold. Go on that journey. Journey within. To that divine power that you are. You are filled with that life-giving oxygen. Hold the breath. Release tension throughout the body and in the mind. Tune in to the magic that is you. Moving in further. Start to breathe in, or letting everything settle. Exhale all the way out and let it all go. And sit with that feeling that you've cultivated. The real you, the creator. Everything outside of you, created from within. You are the one represented as the many. Remember that power that you hold as we move in further. And slowly start to breathe in. Breathe in all the way up and hold. Hold it at the top. Breathe in and hold. Now exhale. Shoot it out like a spear. In through the mouth. Out through the mouth. In through the mouth. Out through the mouth. In and out with power and force. Breathe in and out. In the mouth. Out. In the mouth. Out. Keep that going. Continue to breathe. Push past the feelings of the body. Notice that tingle is just the body coming to life. As you breathe in and out, in and out, in and out, breathe. The lungs tingle. The muscles tense, waking up those genes inside of you, creating those chemical compounds as you breathe in and out, in and out. You're almost there. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. Opening your chest, taking in that life-giving oxygen. Breathe. Up to the top. Breathe in all the way up and hold. Release tension. And enjoy the ride. That connection to source. That connection to love and peace. You can hold for a long time, being filled with that life-giving oxygen. And moving in right away, we exhale like a spear. Exhale all the way out. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. With force and power, continue to breathe, activating your healing, tuning in to that peace inside of you. Breathe in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Keep it going, pushing through those feelings of the body. That's normal. Continue to breathe like the warrior you are. In and out, in and out. More sound, more power. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? Breathe for your life. And one more breath all the way to the top. Breathe in all the way and hold. Breathe all the way up and hold. And take the journey within. Let go of tension in the mind and in the body. Welcome home. This is where you belong. You are filled with that life-giving oxygen, creating your moment now in this generous present moment. Allow everything to settle as you slowly start to exhale. And as you exhale, press all the air out of your lungs slowly. Pull those bottom muscles in like you're restricting the flow of urine. Exhale a little further. Pull those muscles in. Keep those muscles engaged and slowly start to breathe, pulling that energy up through the abdomen, shoulders back and down up through the chest. Continue to breathe all the way in. Pull those muscles in. Pull that energy to the top and hold and pull and pull. Pull those bottom muscles. Pull. Pull, abdomen, shoulders back and down, spine straight, pull, 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 exhale. Let it all go. And notice that feeling in the brain, that connection to the real you. Let's activate that pineal gland further as you inhale slowly and then exhale. All the way out. Press all of your air out. Pull those bottom muscles in like you're restricting the flow of urine. Pull in, exhale out. Inhale slowly, pulling that energy up the spine. Inhale through the abdomen, through the chest, shoulders back and down, spine straight. Inhale to the top and hold. Pull those muscles in. Pull, pull, pressing against the pineal gland. Pulling and pulling. Pull, pull, pull. Exhale, let it all go. Welcome to the real you. The power, the magic of this universe, and beautiful physical representation. You are the whole. You are source in action. One more, breathe out all the way. Press all of your air out, press all of your air out. Pull those bottom muscles in and slowly start to inhale, pulling those muscles in. Energy up through the abdomen, through the chest, shoulders back and down. Breathing in as you pull those muscles all the way to the top and hold at the pineal gland. Hold. Pull those muscles in, pull, pull, pull. Pressing and activating. Press and press. Exhale, let it all go. Take the journey deep within. Notice that feeling of peace and love that you've cultivated for you. And start to picture a beautiful ball of golden light surrounding your beautiful heart. And as you breathe, that ball of light starts to glow and grow to cover your upper body, covering your head and shoulders, your arms and hands, encompassing your hips and legs and your feet. Your body now covered in this beautiful golden light, surrounded by peace and love. And as you breathe, that ball of light grows to cover the room that you're in, covering your house and spreading to your entire city, sharing that love and peace with all of your neighbors. Now moving to your city or your country, your state, spreading to the continent in which you live, covering it in peace and love. And it grows further still to cover the entire beautiful Mother Earth. Moving further still, spreading to the entire solar system, covering the galaxy in peace and love. And with that beautiful intention of your beautiful heart, you spread that love and peace throughout the entire universe, giving that unconditional love, being that warrior of peace and light. I invite you to take the feelings that you've cultivated with you as you come back to a brand new body in a brand new time where pure potential and possibility exists for you. And slowly start to come back to the room. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And when you're ready, you can make your way back to the world, coming back with that feeling of peace and love. It's been an absolute honor taking you through this practice. Again, my name is Leland Holgate. On October 16th, we actually have our entire version, an hour and a half of this, called The Willful Warrior Sacred Sunday. October 16th, 10 a.m. Pacific time to noon, where we're going to discuss what's happening inside body and brain and move into a beautiful practice where we will all help elevate the collective consciousness of this planet. We look forward to seeing you on October 16th. Again, it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure. Make it an amazing life, warriors. Namaste.